Angela escorted Keith back to the common area of their group. Keith wasn't sure what he would do once he saw Reinhart, but each step they took, the more angry he was. He might have forgiven Reinhart for trying to strangle him to death when they first met. After all, they didn't know who he was. But leaving him for dead, there was no way Keith could ever overlook that. As they entered the main area, Reinhart looked up at Keith. His one eye met with Keith's eyes, still filled with anger, but no sense of remorse or shock at seeing Keith. Only the fire remained between them.
Glad to see you made it back all right.
Keith didn't think he could be any more angry, and yet here he was with his top about to blow. He wanted to rush him, but Keith had some civility left in him.
Really? You're glad? Well, that comes off as a surprise since it was you who left me for dead.
Many in the room gasped loudly. All eyes were on Reinhart.
Yeah, he didn't tell you? He slammed me up against the wall after lighting the fuse.
Not enough you fucked up my eye. Now you make up lies about me?
You damn right know what you did.
What'd I tell you, Webster? Nothing but trouble. Give me your gun and I'll put this dog down myself.
That was the final straw for Keith. He left Angela's side and ran straight at Reinhart, jumping the flame and grabbing the old man. Keith was strong, but Reinhart managed to wiggle his way out of his grasp and pushed Keith down. Reinhart took a few steps back and then pulled out his knife. Angela saw this and tried to run between them, but was stopped by Webster.
It's our rule. They alone must settle this.
But he will kill him! We have to do something!
I intend to.
As Webster said that, he took out a knife and tossed it towards Keith, landing directly in front of him. Keith picked up the knife and got to his feet. Reinhart kept his distance, keeping the fire between them as he circled round it, stalking Keith. Keith did the same, ready for the old man to drop his guard so he could gain the advantage. Keith felt the hatred from past injustices returning. His senses were alert, blood pounding at his temples. He was unaware of anyone else in the room, except Reinhart, who had become the object of all of his pent-up hate. Keith suddenly lunged forward, leaping over the fire pit once more. Reinhart was quick to respond, and he raised his knife and brought it down in a vicious arc as Keith now stood before him. Keith felt the pain exploding from his shoulder, falling to his knees before Reinhart, but catching the older man's grimy wrist with his free hand and twisting it hard, causing Reinhart to scream in pain. Reinhart backed away, trying to free his wrists. Keith got to his feet and immediately swung his knife, but Reinhardt's free hand caught his wrist. Both now battled to break free from each other, moving back and forth, turning around to force their opponent into the fire. Both men were panting heavily, with sweat pouring off their foreheads and into their eyes. Keith was surprised by how much Reinhart could endure. He decided that something drastic was needed, and with his remaining strength, he forced Reinhardt's back towards the fire, then jumped up in the air and forced his feet into the old man's stomach. Reinhart released his grip and fell back towards the fire. His legs carried him enough, and his fall was over the flame and his landing on the other side. Reinhart rose to his feet once more, with his back to the door. Keith got to his knees from where he had landed, and within a split second, the door had opened and Reinhart swiftly taken the person in his grasp, with the knife touching their throat. Whoever they were, Keith saw that Reinhart now had a human shield.
Come any closer. I'll kill her.
Clear!
Webster let go of Angela and he moved towards Reinhart. Angela ran immediately to Keith and put her arms around him.
You fucking coward! Let the woman go!
Reinhart paid no attention to Webster.
I should have made sure you couldn't get out of the hole I left you in. Don't look so shocked, Webster. Of course I did it. And you know why?
Reinhart pointed towards Keith and Angela.
All because of her.
Angela let go of Keith and looked over at Reinhart.
From the moment I saw the bastard in the subway, I knew he spelled trouble. I should have finished him then.
Keith saw the woman held by Reinhart. All color had drained from her face. Her eyes were wide with terror. She opened her mouth to speak, but no sound came out.
Where will you go? If we don't get you, the women above will. Take your chances and finish the fight.
Reinhart motioned towards the darkness, beyond the door behind him.
I'll take my chances out there!
The older man backed carefully through the doorway, half dragging the terrified girl behind him. Angela tried to run towards Reinhart, but Keith held her back.
My God! Is anyone going to stop him?
Everyone stay where you are. Let them leave.
With everything he knew of Reinhart, Keith believed that he was capable of killing his captive, if it meant his escape. Once they stepped through the doorway and into the darkness, they were gone. Webster and Keith looked down the tunnels in both directions, but there was no way to know where he would go or which exit he would use.
She shouldn't have been here. Why would she be here in the middle of the day?